mind to live in memory.
Oh, you hear that song? Well, that's Ray Charles, I Can't Stop Loving You. It was #1 on the charts this week, June of 1962. In California, Richard Nixon had just won the Republican nomination for governor. President Kennedy had just addressed the U.S. military at West Point. And across the pond in London, 4 guys from Liverpool were auditioning for producer George Martin. You may know them as the Beatles. On June 3rd, 1962, a little TV station in South Central Kentucky signed on the air for the first time. It was Wonderful Live Television, WLTV. This is the old Armory building in downtown Bowling Green. Now, when WLTV first signed on the air, we were broadcasting from Hadley Hill up Morgantown Road. In the late 60s, Channel 13 acquired new owners, and we changed our call letters to WBKO. And for 15 years, this was where we broadcast from. Welcome to a celebration of 50 years in broadcasting. A lot has changed over the last 50 years, but what has not changed is our commitment to you, the viewer. So now, we invite you to spend a little time with us taking a look back at where we've been and a look at where we might go from here.
I guess the decision had been made several years and months before and had worked on it and thought it worked out a way to get enough households and coverage and to keep the operating costs down that would be a little bit of a different type of operation than had been in existence. And they were with a lot of misgivings, of course, and thought about it a lot because there were a lot of stations had already gone on the air after 1952 and had gone bankrupt.
In 1962, a new house cost just $15,000. You could mail a letter for 4 cents, pull into a gas station and fill your tank for less than $5. That year, John Glenn orbited the Earth in a one-man capsule, Friendship 7. In October of 1962, U.S. Air Force reconnaissance photographs triggered the Cuban Missile Crisis, which mesmerized the entire world for 2 weeks. In March, Wilt Chamberlain scored 100 points for the Philadelphia 76ers in a game against the New York Knicks. That May, Bill Hartack rode decidedly to a new course record in the Kentucky Derby. And for many, television, still somewhat of a novelty 10 years earlier, had become a staple of American homes. That year, the First Lady gave a televised tour of the Kennedy White House. Over 46 million people tuned in, more than a quarter of the entire U.S. population. 1962 also saw the launch of the first commercial communications satellite, Telstar, which enabled transmission of broadcast signals across the globe. That year, 90% of American homes had a television. And that year, television came to South Central Kentucky in the form of WLTV, Wonderful Live Television.
Everybody twist! There's Christie in Cleveland and Kansas City too. They're willing in Warwood and Pittsburgh.
The first facility was constructed on Hadley Hill on Morgantown Road. Television programming was expensive to produce, and in the early days of WLTV, the only option for keeping costs down was a good helping of homemade programming. That is, the kind produced live and in-house. This programming reflected the viewers and their interests, and early shows were very much the product of the country setting with a down-home feel. WLTV's Country Music Jubilee attracted a substantial live audience in addition to its television viewers. In spite of the fact that the capital of country music, Nashville, was only an hour's drive from Bowling Green,
country music fans flocked to the station at Hadley and took part in what became as much a social event as a television show. It didn't take long for the Jubilee to attract the attention of bluegrass bands, gospel groups, and bigger-named country musicians from Nashville, including stars like Chet Atkins. WLTV at one point was producing over 125 hours of live programming every week. Early programming featured Romper Room with Miss Kay, Otis Blanton and his Blue Star Rangers, the Goodman Family Gospel Hour, Uncle Albert's General Store, with Channel 13's first weatherman, George Goldtrap. In 1968, WLTV moved from Hadley to much larger facilities in the Armory Building downtown. In 1969, the station attracted some unwanted attention. In September of that year, persons unknown dynamited the Channel 13 transmission tower. No one was ever arrested or charged. Station management were forced to take down the damaged structure, and a new tower was soon constructed. Channel 13 was sold to Professional Telecasting Systems in 1970 and changed its call letters to WBKO. A new transmitter was built, and along with it came color broadcast signals. Sometime later, the facility moved from the Armory Building downtown to new quarters on Russellville Road, where we've been ever since.